Mina Khan, Jen Latta, Justin Tinsley, Frank Isola. One big swing, finally, for the Yankees. Anthony, let me hear it. Anthony, just the fellas. Anthony, just the ladies.
Tony.
Have the Yankees awoken themselves in this series, or is tonight the night for the Dodgers? Let's go around that horn. I was Anthony growing up. I was Anthony growing up. I chose Tony, but I might go back to Anthony. Here's your host, Anthony Reale.
It's Tony.
Coming back from 0-3 is nearly impossible. Coming back from 1-3, maybe it's a bit easier. Anthony Volpe, the big swing the Yankees have waited all series for. And then came more awakenings and 11 runs. But how much of that was Los Angeles' scheduled bullpen strategy? Bill Plaschke, our friend, called it a punt. Also said the series is over anyway, it's okay. But he called it punting a game. So in your minds, is punting game 4 or allowing it to play out the way it did with back-end relievers to better the chances for the rest of the series strategically sound for the Dodgers? Or is it tempting fate and allowing the Yankees to defibrillate? Around the horn to Frank Isola.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully they're tempting fate. You know, if you go to that 8th inning, it was only a 2-run game. You had Blake Trinan, who did not pitch in Game 3. Why not throw him out there? You talk about late inning heroics. The Dodgers just showed us that in Games 1 and 2. So why not? And here's what happened. With the Yankees blowing that game open in the 8th inning, Weaver available to pitch tonight, which could turn out to be pretty big for the Yankees.
Okay, so you believe, from a Dodgers perspective here, Frank Isola, it's a sound strategy, or you would have tried to win that game and win that title right now with everything you got in one game?
It's only 2 runs, and we've seen the Yankees bullpen late in these games, in Games 1 and 2 especially, kind of fall apart. You're not asking the guy to, Honeywell was a sacrificial lamb. He threw 50 pitches. I get it. But why not try Blake Trinan, who did not pitch in Game 3? Throw him out there. If it's a 2-run lead going into the 9th, you have a chance. You could have ended it last night.
Justin Tinsley, around the horn of you.
Yeah, whatever it was, the Yankees took full advantage of that moment. And anytime you don't close the team out, there's always that thought in the back of your head. The opposing fan base has the Jim Carrey syndrome. Like, so you're telling me there's a chance. And last night, the Yankees did 2 things very well. Their bullpen was phenomenal. They didn't allow a run for the last 4 innings, and they didn't even use Luke Weaver, as Frank just said.
Oh, they used him. They didn't use him in the 9th for 25,
yeah, they didn't use him in the 9th.
pitches.
Yes, they didn't use him in the 9th. And also, they stopped swinging and missing, Tony. They only whiffed on 14% of their swings as opposed to 33%. So in the biggest game of the year, with literally the season on the line, the Yankees finally looked calm. They finally looked at peace where they were. Now the question is, can you look calm for 3 more wins?
Of course. We'll get to that in a second. But did they look calm, Jen Latta? I'll bring you in here around the horn. Because of the strategy the Dodgers and Dave Roberts invoked here to go back-end bullpen guys and save everybody for today and the next 2, if possible.
Yeah, Tony, I guess I would question the strategy if they hadn't had success doing this before, but Game 4 of the NLDS against the Padres, they did something similar, and it worked in their favor. They have had 14 pitchers this season who have recorded at least a save. It's basically a positionless staff beyond a few of your starters, and that is a luxury that you have when you have a deep staff like they have, and you're in a position where you're up 3-0 or 3-1. So now they have options tonight as well, because Flaherty, they want him to go out there and have a good outing, right? But if he doesn't, they've got a full bullpen in high leverage situations that they can be aggressive with. I really love it. And I believe in the baseball gods. I do, Tony. But if the baseball gods had anything to say in this series, the Yankees would have lost yesterday's game because of those 2 knucklehead fans.
Oh,
so
we'll get to that as well in a second. All right. Win, as we say. For the Yankees last night, Mina, was it because of the Dodgers strategy, or do you believe the Yankees awoke a little bit?
I think a little bit of both, to be honest. I started saying they awoke, but then I thought, well, the competition certainly matters. But I want to go back to the strategy. I'm surprised to hear Frank criticizing it. He's typically such a results-driven guy, and if they had gone to Trinan, they still would have lost. They didn't score any more runs, and we'd be criticizing him today for wasting those innings on one of their best pitchers, relievers rather. I think that's the results angle. From the process side, which is the right way to look at this, I also agree with it. There was always going to be a very bullpen-heavy game, and I think it was a good approach for them to waste it on this one, especially after using so many of those relievers in Game 3. Now you go into Game 4, as Jen alluded to, completely set up to win. Blake is fresh. Your starters are great. I would be very surprised if they don't close.
Frank, I'll let you back in here. You can defend your case.
Well, here's what Dave Roberts isn't telling you, that Flaherty, tonight's starter, is not good on 4 days rest. The second time around against the Mets, he got roughed up. So he's really saving his bullpen because he doesn't think his starting pitcher tonight is going to last very long. And Mina, yes, you give up after the Yankees scored all those runs in the bottom of the 8th, but if you put one of your better relievers in, maybe it's a 2-run game going into the 9th, and then you have a chance.
Sporting gods tempted just a little bit. I think you called Honeywell a sacrificial lamb. Frank, that sounds delicious. Honeywell sacrificial lamb. It's brought to you.
It's on the menu.
The fan interference. Let's talk about it, everybody. Here we go. Hands on a player, Mookie Betts, on a live ball. 2 fans immediately, of course, it was called out on the field, and immediately they were ejected, of course, but celebrated as they were escorted out of Yankee Stadium, prying the ball out of the glove, and then hand on the wrist of Mookie Betts as well. ESPN's Jesse Rogers met up at a nearby bar where they were watching the end of the game. Look at these quotes. If it's in our area, we're going to D up. Someone defends, someone knocks the ball. This is premeditation. We talk about it. We're willing to do this. I patrol that wall. Fan did admit he was in the wrong. He knew he was getting in trouble, but did also say they told him he could come back for tonight's game. That now appears, and it's definitely not the case. Rogers reporting this afternoon. MLB has told the Yankees that's not happening. Jen Lada, what is this?
It's totally egregious, ridiculous behavior. I am pro-fan. I am pro make the environment as difficult as possible for a visiting team, but I draw the line at touching, let alone forcibly touching an athlete in the field of play. They knew it was wrong. I love that Major League Baseball stepped in. Apparently the Yankees agreed that they should not be allowed because you cannot allow bad behavior like this to persist. It reminds me of that Texas-Georgia football game, guys, where the fans were throwing the bottles on the field. The referees ended up changing a call, and you set a precedent that if you behave that way, that maybe things will go your way. In this instant, Major League Baseball is saying, if you touch a player, if you forcibly try to remove a ball from the glove, guys, you're out.
Did this need to be said? I grew up my whole life knowing this was something you cannot do. Mina Kimes around the horn to you on how you saw it all play out.
Yeah, they shouldn't be just banned from tonight. They should be banned permanently. I mean, this is outrageous. And allow me to make a cross-sport reference here. They didn't play the ball, right? They aggressively went after his body. I mean, the guy who I forget his name, and honestly, I'm glad I forgot his name. But the one with all the quotes, whose face is all over, is the one getting the attention. But his pal grabbed Mookie's wrist. He could have hurt him. I mean, what are we doing here? They should not be allowed back at that point.
Frank Isola, I go to you now here on these New York fans.
Well, number one, the fans are entitled to a foul ball. That's one thing. But both Jen and Mina are 100% right once you touch the fan. But, Jen, let's be fair now. In the Midwest, I seem to remember Steve Bartman trying to do something that was it was a foul ball. He grabbed it, and he had to run out of the stadium for his life. So there have been times when the fan hasn't helped out the team, where the fans go after him. The Yankee fans celebrating this knucklehead is par for the course. But once you touch the player, all bets are off. That was completely out of line.
Justin Tinsley.
Yeah, Austin, John, tell the bartender to turn this up because I need you to listen to me. You're not in the game, bro. I'm glad you got kicked out, and I hope it eats you alive that you cannot go to the game tonight to see your team play in the World Series. This type of action, this type of behavior is the worst type of fan behavior because you think it's all about you. And then to double down after and be like, oh, I patrol this wall. You don't own the wall, bro. What you did was lame. What you did was corny. What you did was dangerous. And it exhibited a sense of entitlement. Honestly, that's indicative of a far larger conversation within society. I hated everything about this. And if they never get invited back to Yankee Stadium, it'll be far too soon.
Jen Lada, last word on this.
Yeah, there was another incident, actually, that I didn't like at the game as well. When Freddie Freeman was holding up the sign for his mom in the Stand Up to Cancer moment, there was somebody that was heckling him in that moment. As fans, again, time and place matters, and that's another one that just rubbed me the wrong way.
Frank, I heard you invoke Steve Bartman's name. That's entirely different things, right? Bartman didn't even acknowledge there was the players around him. He didn't know Moises Alou was underneath him.
But he wasn't being celebrated for trying to catch a foul ball like most fans do.
It is a dark, dark moment for how people talked about Steve Bartman in that instance. But I've been stunned at the reaction to this as well. People, celebration, stunned. We've been horned. Let's get to tonight, because all that's in the past. Tonight is everything, and is tonight the night the Dodgers win the World Series? Flaherty versus Cole, and all hands on deck to varying degrees. Mina Kimes, don't need to say any more. Who you got?
I've got the Dodgers.
You don't need to say any more. Jen Lada, around the horn to you.
Yeah, despite Cole's splits home and away, I've got the Yankees tonight, mostly because I want to see postseason baseball continue.
Justin Tinsley?
I think Flaherty mimics his Game 1 performance, but this ain't the 2-1-1 theory, Tony. But tonight is the Ohtani game. Dodgers close it out.
That guy's solo.
Ooh, I'd be careful about that. He looks like he's really struggling. If he doesn't hit a home run, if he's on first base, you can't trust him to run around the bases. Look, he's holding his shoulder up so he doesn't, injure it further. If you look at Garrett Cole, I thought a big moment for him was that second start he had against Kansas City. This obviously is bigger. When you talk about the great Yankee pitchers of all time, Garrett Cole has a chance tonight. Pitch a big game. Get to at least 6 innings. Maybe if he's on 88 pitches, you let him go into the 7th. But this is a big moment. I think the Yankees win tonight.
You've got Garrett Cole. This is the 7th win-or-go-home game of Garrett Cole's career as a pitcher, not just with the Yankees. His teams are 2-4 in those games. But this is what you're paid for. You win tonight, and then we got a series. They lose, and we're celebrating the Dodgers tomorrow. We'll take a break right here around the horn and hold on with Fire Cell Net. Halfway point of the NFL season. I don't need to tell you people, a most valuable discussion is upon us. Let's take a look at the betting favorites right now. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff. Bit lower down. Say hello to Jaden Daniels. Anybody know of a rookie winning NFL MVP? Happened once, a long time ago. Anybody know?
Jim Brown.
Tinsley enters the chat. 1957, the only rookie MVP, Jim Brown. Anyone know a colleague who said, consider Daniels as a possibility for MVP? Dan Orlovsky was that colleague. I believe, Mina, you were sitting right next to him. Should Jaden Daniels be sneaking into MVP discussions?
Jaden Daniels is amazing. He is the offensive rookie of the year right now. But respectfully, Lamar Jackson is very clearly the MVP at this point in the season. He leads all quarterbacks in EPA per dropback. He is second in QBR behind Joe Burrow, who's not on a good team. When these quarterbacks played, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson outplayed him. There's still a lot of time left in the season, but at this point, the only reason why anyone wouldn't pick Lamar is boredom over giving it to him yet again.
Jen Lada, MVP.
And yet human beings have done stranger things than that, haven't they, Mina? I am a pro rookie of the year for Jaden Daniels, but they haven't really played a lot of good teams, guys. In fact, they only have one win this season against a team with a winning record, and that was the Bears game, and they won on the Hail Mary. Is he going to set the rookie completion percentage record that is held by Dak Prescott? Maybe. He's at 71 plus, and Dak was 67 plus. But beyond that, guys, he's only thrown 7 touchdowns this season. He's rushed for 1. There are quarterbacks in this league, including Lamar, like Mina said, who have thrown double that, triple that. If you're talking about Baker Mayfield, I'm not making a case for Baker Mayfield, but I do think we'd like to see a little more from him. The meat of their schedule, guys, is coming up. They've got the Steelers coming up and the Eagles and the Titans, who have a very tough passing defense. Let's pump the brakes on MVP.
But you did talk about the team wins. His team wins, a quarterback stat, many times, maybe. Hold your thought on that. Justin Tinsley, around the horn to you.
Yeah, so in my mind, the conversation in MVP is top 5, and I have Jaden Daniels, who's right outside of that in 6. My top 5 includes all the names you just mentioned, plus Derrick Henry. Now, what he has going for him is the best story in football right now. What he's done for DC and the energy he's injected into this, the chapter he's writing for this franchise, especially after the last one that was written, you can't deny it, nor his numbers right now. Now, I will say this. If his numbers continue to improve and Washington ends the season with 11 or 12 wins, it's going to go from a fun what if to wait a minute, could this actually happen? But right now, no, I wouldn't put him in the conversation.
Frank Isola.
You know, Washington has been a nondescript team, even with Magic Johnson as a part owner. Along comes Jaden Daniels, everything changes. And guess what? The smart voters know if he gets to 10 wins and he's putting up good numbers, he's going to be in the so-called conversation. But if Mina had a big heart like me, she would want Jared Goff. That's a great story. Was in the Super Bowl, got traded for a guy that ended up winning the Super Bowl with his own team, and the media votes for it. The media likes the
lion-hearted
story.
Isola
Jared
says
Goff.
Goff. Mina, last
got a
word on
heart.
this.
I mean, I love Jared Goff. The Lions just trounced the Titans, and he threw for, it was not a lot of yards. I don't remember. It was like 28 yards at
he's
halftime.
winning.
That is a team.
He keeps
Winning. A quarterback stat again. Team wins. Oh, this is the conversation that never ends. Let's move on to another one, though. Let's talk basketball last night. Your conference finals rematch in the West. Mavs 120, T-Wolves 114. So same result, a Dallas W. The way Edwards, Anthony Edwards, started this game. 24-point first quarter. And all those threes. But then Kyrie Irving in the third, getting Dallas back. And then, of course, Luka Doncic. He missed everything all game. He gets the dagger. Frank, what do you buy? What do you sell from last night's result?
I'm buying the fact that if he hit the shot over Rudy Gobert like he did in the playoffs, we would have led the show making fun of poor Rudy Gobert. Luka Doncic still in a big moment. I trust him more than anybody else in the Western Conference, among the top teams. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and guys like that.
Yeah, the last 6 times these teams have met, 5 of those games have gone to clutch time, and the Mavs have won 4 of those. That, to me, is what this team is. They are clutch. They have 2 closers. Luka wasn't even good for most of this team, but Kyrie carried him until the end. And then, of course, as he so often has, he came
Jen Latta.
My biggest takeaway is that they may have a bona fide, the Timberwolves that is, may have a bona fide rival now in the West because these games are always entertaining. But I'll give you another Anthony, Karl Anthony Towns, Tony, who is now in New York. I think that they need more help out there for Anthony Edwards. Obviously, they're seeing what the Mavs have done inside, adding players, adding people who can go at Gobert, and that showed up last night as well. So they need to still add if they want to compete with the Mavs.
Justin Tinsley.
I'm buying that Luka is hands down the most sadistic closer in basketball. I'm buying that he and Kyrie are going to be the scariest duo in basketball this year. And I'm buying, while they may not own real estate in the Timberwolves' head, guess what? They're definitely living rent-free there right now.
Okay. Clutch time points today. Tinsley and Isola, result-oriented, not getting it done.
Mina doesn't care about winning.
Unbelievable.
Wins don't matter to her.
Got a chance to do it today, unlike you, Frank Isola.
She shouldn't be.
Unbelievable, Tony.
Times, Latta, showdown next.
Around the Horn is presented by the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Number 1 in ESPN's top 100 men's college hoop players. Anyone want to guess? Any guesses? It's right there on the screen. Yes, Cooper Flagg. Thank you. So observant, you guys. 0 career games, but already the best in the country after what you saw versus Team USA in exhibition games? Mina Kimes, Jen Latta, welcome to Showdown. Number 1 player for a player who hasn't played yet. Seem right to you, Mina?
It does. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot, but I'm going to trust ESPN scouts. And I'm going to trust another scout. His name is LeBron James. He said Cooper Flagg is the future of U.S. basketball. There's going to be oral histories, 30 for 30s about that scrimmage.
Okay, Jen Latta.
And you've got a Fortune 500 company in PepsiCo and Gatorade who have obviously signed him to be the face of them. College basketball needs faces. One of the biggest issues that this sport has is that people don't know who the biggest players are until the middle of March Madness, and they've been popping. So Cooper Flagg being the number 1 guy and being signed by Gatorade is a good thing for the sport.
Well argued. We'll split the points and move on. Showdown 2. Nuggets 144, Nets 139. Denver eking out another overtime win. They're winless in regulation right now, but 2-2 overall. Jokic, first player with multiple triple-doubles and multiple 40-point games through 4 games. Is that a good thing or masking real problems for Denver, Jen?
Real problems. Their bench depth is going to be an issue. You're asking a lot of your starters. They are going to be out there night in and night out. You got some back-to-backs that you'll have to navigate as well. And the issue, of course, is you can't waste Jokic's prime. If he's run down and burn out as the season goes on, that's not good for anybody.
Mina Kimes?
Yeah, it's not a good thing if you're struggling against a team that many people believe is the most likely to get Cooper Flag in the Brooklyn Nets. You're seeing a lot of the same issues you saw last year, defense, but then primarily a lack of shooting. If you take out overtime, the Nets, it's early, they are 29th in points per game. That is a huge issue.
Who allowed that many points, Kristen? Mina Kimes, today's winner. Take 30 seconds, Mina.
Okay, this is some fun news for me. For ESPN, on December 9th, we are having a Monday Night Football game on ESPN Plus that is going to take place entirely in the world of The Simpsons. It's the Cowboys and the Bengals. The Cowboys are associated with Homer, the Bengals with Bart. Make of that what you will. I am a huge Simpsons fan. Wow. Lisa Simpson forever. So this is really personally exciting for me to be calling the game with Dan Orlovsky and Drew Carter. Be sure to tune in if you love all things Simpsons.
This is incredible. Look at it. This is incredible.
It makes sense. I say don't with the Cowboys all the time. So that makes sense.
Who doesn't like winning?
Favorite Simpsons episode or moment, Mina Kimes?
Oh.
Lisa Substitute.
Lisa needs braces.
Oh, that's a classic.
Lisa needs braces.
That's a classic.
Lisa needs braces.
Don't
Winning
have
is
a
not
All
good.
right. 23.5 hour break. Tomorrow, Hornoween.